Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here tonight as I sat here and watched WWE Storytime. WWE Storytime premiered after the WWE Survivor Series pay-per-view last week. I didn't have a chance to watch it because of the fact that I had to watch Survivor Series on a delay, seeing how I didn't get off from work until 8 o'clock. And by the time I got home, Survivor Series and the main event had ended, so I had to rewatch the show from beginning to end. By the time I was done with that show and doing my review and putting it up on YouTube, I had no thoughts of watching a 30-minute show on the WWE Network, telling about old, stories that feature about road trips and things like that. If you did watch my Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar review, I forgot to turn off the television, which I normally do for my reviews, and WWE Storytime was playing, and I was sort of watching it and reviewing it at the same time. I was talking about Goldberg versus Brock and the shitty day that I had about the 49ers getting their asses kicked by the Patriots last week, and looked up and noticed Ric Flair talking about a huge set of cartoon cans, and said that I was looking forward to getting a chance to review it somewhere down the road. That happened to be today. I came home. I honestly haven't been feeling all that well today. I made it through my day. At work, I was looking forward to laying down and relaxing, watching something, and chose to put on WWE Storytime. And it was over before I knew it. I did not know that it was only going to be a roughly 12-minute show. I can say that honestly, I was looking forward to seeing more of the show once it was over. I was a little bit surprised that it was done. It's been a week since Survivor Series, and no new episodes are put up. I don't know if that was sort of like a teaser. I remember going back to when WWE's Monday Night War series launched. They put episode 1 up as their sort of a special after Monday Night Raw thing, and then they didn't actually start the series for, I believe, 2 months down the road. It was sort of like a sneak peek preview. WWE Network, by putting up live shows, sometimes, like with Swerve, they'll put up a whole season all in one day. Boom! Go watch it as fast as you can. Some shows they like to roll out, which they'll upload either after Monday Night Raw, after SmackDown, sort of like must-see appointment television, where they can actually try to get you to go watch that show, being with the the Raw or SmackDown sort of saying, hey, when this is over, turn on the WWE Network. You're going to see a new show, WWE Storytime. They told 4 stories. These were hosted by Ric Flair, Jake the Snake Roberts, Bubba Ray Dudley, and who was the last one? Oh, it was good old Farouk from the APA. I can tell you that honestly, out of the 4 stories, I laughed the most at Ric Flair's story. It was a story that mostly seemed like it was probably true. He just basically said that he was on an airline, and it was a flight to Hawaii. He said it was going to be a 9-hour flight, and he boarded the plane. He saw 6 of the most gorgeous flight attendants that he'd ever seen in his world. There was what was it, four brunettes and 2 blondes, and one of the blondes had the hugest gazongas that he'd ever seen in his whole world. I'm pretty sure the word he used was gazongas as well. And Flair basically told the story about the girls trying to get him to put on the robe. He said he wouldn't put on the robe if he was wearing his clothes. So he went into the bathroom, he took off all of his clothes, said he ripped them off like he was Superman, and basically put the robe on, and then stepped out, and from there proceeded to negotiate with the girls that if they wanted to see more of Flair needed to see more of them, and he says that's where he stopped the story, and he says you're going to have to make the rest up from there, but it was the best airline trip that he ever had. From there we go to talking about the APA. Farouk and Bradshaw said that they went out drinking one night. They brought along Teddy Long to be the designated driver, and Teddy Long left good old Farouk out in the snow. He went to go take a leak. Farouk did not jump in the car when Bradshaw did, and when they drove off, Basically, Farouk was left out in the snow. It took 15 miles for Bradshaw to convince Teddy Long, who thought that Bradshaw was playing a joke on him, to turn around. And then once they turned around, Farouk said he was out in the middle of nowhere with nothing to cover himself, so he was just getting covered up with snow. He actually saw Bradshaw and Teddy Long drive by them a couple of times. Once Teddy Long was able to actually find Farouk, he basically said that he didn't know that he wasn't in the car. He thought that Bradshaw was playing a joke, and Farouk said he wanted to whip his ass. It was what it was. The story told by the Dudleys made it almost seem like it really wasn't true. They told the story about Bubba Ray was with Big Dick Dudley, and basically Big Dick Dudley was a big NASCAR fan, and they were in Atlanta. They drove up to Atlanta Motor Speedway, and the gates to the actual speedway were open, and they drove out on the track and started driving around the track at 103 miles an hour with Tommy Dreamer in the back, and driving a rental Cadillac, I think is what they said. And they were driving around the track, and the car was almost tipping over, and it just didn't honestly seem realistic. From there, Jake the Snake told a story about basically one time the airline went through his bags and let the snake loose on the tarmac. Then they were trying to get Jake to go out on the tarmac and basically pick the snake up, put it back in the trunk. And he was saying no, he wouldn't do it, because basically he knew that the way he traveled with the snake is that basically he put him in the chest and he locked him up. And he also had him inside of a bag inside of that chest. So somebody must have really been trying to get that snake out. It isn't the snake got out of that box on his own. Major flaws about this show was that it just wasn't short enough. They did put cartoon images to the stories, so you weren't just looking at them. But I can see them turning a lot of the WWE DVD Blu-ray special features. You know, you go on there, there's stuff that isn't really fit into the biography. They just always put extras on those, and I can see them, doing sort of cartoon images of all of those, making a lot more of these episodes of WWE Storytime. I thought it was a good show, just wasn't long enough, and look forward to seeing more of it down the road. Peace out, everybody.